What's up guys, it's Sir Speedster, and today we're doing something a little bit different here. Today, we're going to be doing a tier list. We're going to be ranking all the consoles, you see right here, all these babies right here. I'm going to place them on this tier list from S all the way down to F. So let's get into it. Now, of course, we got to start with the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. The one that restarted it all. Too bad it kind of sucks. I'm sorry, but don't get me wrong. Games in it, they're great. Really hard to go back to for most of them. And a lot of them just straight up just don't work good as a game. But because of what it did and of how good the quality of the games can be, they're gonna go right into C rank. Next up, you got the Sega Genesis. Now this one, you're gonna hate me, but I'm gonna put that in B because, I mean, it's just, I'm just saying, it was really important for like dethroning Nintendo, because before that, it was just Nintendo or go bankrupt. But Genesis came in and said, no, fuck you, Nintendo. You can do it at somewhere else. You can make games for us and you actually will get paid. So I'm gonna put that in the B tier because it just looks better anyways. Let's see, next up we got Super Nintendo. Now, that's also gonna go in the B tier, but it's gonna go ahead of Sega Genesis. Yes, I'm not like doing like random placement. I'm doing like, when it's placed in a tier, it's gonna be like ranked with it. Like it's gonna be like in this case, Super Nintendo is B, but it's a higher B than Genesis. We good? Okay, cool, we're good. Now, Super Nintendo, don't need to feel like I need to explain this one too well, because while Genesis had its qualities, Super Nintendo, come on, we can all agree this stuff still holds up really well. Warning, controversial gaming opinion. I don't think the GameCube is really that good. So it's going in lower C. It's going lower than the NES. I'm sorry, it's kind of a piece of shit. The original Game Boy specifically. The original Game Boy is kind of a piece of shit, but that was kind of the point. The point was to be really cheap. Go watch a Scott the Woz video on like why it was meant to be like that. There's an actual explanation. Go watch Scott the Woz. Just in general, he's great. Now the Game Boy Color. That's going in B, because it's just the Game Boy, but better. Like, come on. Who's gonna, why are we even arguing here? Okay, just gonna get this out of the way. Sorry, Mega Drive. Sorry, you gotta go in E. You literally just don't matter. Sorry. But Sega Nomad, you going up here in C above the Game Boy because you were basically just a portable Genesis. Good job. But Sega's own answer to the Game Boy, you're going in D. It just doesn't hold up. Sorry, at least the Game Boy had lasting power. This guy doesn't. Sorry. Virtual Boy? F. I feel like that's like the least controversial thing of this whole list. I feel like out of every pick I'm gonna make, this is the least controversial right here. Just, it's the Virtual Boy. Who is gonna bat for this thing? Now Game Boy Advance, get up there in A. You deserve it. You did so much for the gaming community. You were amazing. The only reason you're not an S is because a lot of your stuff is just, it's a lot of remakes and ports. It's just so many. But still, A tier. It's just shy of S. But you know what is an S tier? PlayStation 2, baby, let's go! That's right, I don't care. PlayStation 2 is the best out of that generation. Between the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube, PS2 is S rank all day, every day. Fight me. This thing has like every game you could possibly want, and it's the only one to survive through multiple generations. I mean, this thing didn't get discontinued until the PlayStation 4 came out. Come on. I mean, come on. And it's not like it was just sticking around and just getting whatever. It was getting some big titles. I mean, the Persona series, those were brand new releases on the PlayStation 2, the same years that like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were clashing. I mean, Persona 3 Fez, objectively the best Persona game. Fight me. Well, okay, I guess it's a tie between Fez and Portable. Portable for the options, Fez for a full, I don't know. Actually, wait, no, that opinion's outdated. I'm so used to just saying that because I keep forgetting that Reload exists. Reload is the best version. But if we're going like classic releases, it's Portable and Fez, and I am rambling. Let's just move on. PS2 is an S rank. No, you cannot change my mind. Now PS Vita, this is gonna be a weird one. PS Vita is gonna go right in between the Nomad and the Game Boy because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great system. Not much to offer on it though. But like, the quality of it is just top notch, man. Just a top notch quality. Sega Saturn, gonna go right there in D, buddy. Right next to the, yeah, him. Gonna go right next to him. It's only in D because there just isn't much there. Again, I'm sorry. There just isn't much there. There isn't much reason to get a Sega Saturn, you know? Like, there just really isn't. And there wasn't back then, and there isn't really much now. Okay, Sega Dreamcast. This is going right in B, but specifically, it's gonna go above. It's gonna go above. I'm sorry. That's not where it's placed permanently. It's just for now. For now, that's where it's placed in B. Because, I mean, come on. It's the Sega Dreamcast. It was the first to show off next generation graphics. The only thing really holding it back was, one, the disc sizes, because there wasn't really much information you can store on it. But also, it's just unfortunate timing, you know? It was just an unfortunate place in history. I mean, it says something about the Dreamcast when you could just directly port these games to the GameCube, and it looks just like a GameCube game. I mean, come on. Don't argue with me here. Speaking of GameCube, it's B for, boy, that's a good console. But it's not amazing, because for one specific reason. It's only great if you're a Nintendo fan or a fan of Nintendo-like games. Like Sega games, for example. If you were a Sega fan, you were getting a GameCube. But its real only audience was like people who like Nintendo-style games, Nintendo games themselves, or kids. Not much besides that. They were great for those audiences, but not a wide range like the PlayStation 2. So I can't put it higher than B. All right, Nintendo 64. That's also got to go in B, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just, hear me out. Hear me out on this. Nintendo 64 had masterpieces. The games were masterpieces, but only like a handful or two. Like, the ones that were good were fucking amazing, but the rest was just straight dog shit, guys. Like, come on. Like, the Nintendo 64 is literally the definition of hit or miss. The games were either amazing, masterpieces, 10 out of 10, stand the test of time until the end of gaming and the end of time itself, or you never think about them again, and that's why it's in B. All right, now Switch. Switch, that's an obvious A rank. That's just, it's such a good console, man. It's just so good. The games are great. Its portability is perfect. It's so good. They're just making their next console. It's just a Switch 2. The first time Nintendo's ever done that. Just going, nah, no new names, no new redesign, no new crazy things. Just 2. The closest you get to that was the Wii U, but that ain't 2, isn't it? It's just U, not 2. Speaking of Wii U, get in C, because, like, I'm sorry, it's just not that good, but the games are great, you know? The games are what save this thing. If it wasn't for the games, this thing would be lower. But the Wii, you're going right up into A tier. Now, I know what you're thinking, but there's so much shovelware. Yeah, but it's fun. Checkmate. But you know it's an S tier. The Nintendo DS. Let's go. That is such a great console. Just so good. The games, the graphics. It was just so perfect. It was that was 2004. 2004, my guy. 2004. We had that. I didn't though. Because I was 1. PlayStation. This one's a hard one. Cause like it's amazing, but also it's kind of hard to go back to in terms of like anyone jumping into it. So that's why I'm putting it at A for a very specific reason. The reason is, well, you can't really go back to it that easily if you're a new gamer. There's like, look, it's great, but it's like, how do I put this? It's chunky, okay? The games are chunky. The PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Xbox onwards, those guys, you could just jump in even like now, like even if you never played games, you can jump into them and they work fine. The PS1 takes some finagling to get working well. So that's why it's A. If it wasn't for that, it'd be S. I just realized this is in the wrong spot. I meant to put it there. Now PSP, I love the PSP, but it's not the best. Like, discs, that's like the one thing holding it back is the disc. If it wasn't for the fact this is a disc console, it'd be S tier. Everything else about it is like perfect. All right, the original Xbox, that's going right into A tier. Because like this was when Xbox was at its most competitive. Like this was when they were really, really trying. You know, they were innovating. They were pushing the boundaries. These guys were the ones who showed, hey, PC gaming on consoles can actually be pretty sick. All right, 3DS, it's gonna go above the 64, but below the Dreamcast because it was just kind of a nothing console. I feel nothing when I look at this. All right, now the 360, that's gonna go above the original Xbox, but still below the Switch because it had such a strong start. And then it stopped giving a shit, which led to this fucking abomination of a console. Fuck you. Going an E. The only reason it's not an F is because at least it actually functions, unlike the Virtual Boy. God, I just pissed off like every single Xbox fan. What am I doing with my life? All right, now PS3, that's gonna go above the original 360 in A because unlike 360 that died out before its life even ended, it stayed around the whole time, and it stayed even longer than that, you know? Like the PlayStation 2 before it, it stuck around for a while. And for our final S tier, it's the PlayStation 4, objectively an amazing S tier console. I mean, come on, it's the PlayStation 4. If you had a console during this generation, it was the PlayStation 4. Not many people I knew had a Xbox One because who the fuck had an Xbox One? All right, now, the last two consoles. The newest ones. Now these ones are a little hard to judge because we're still in those generations, so it's not the final answer yet, obviously, but I think it's been long enough to make an accurate assessment of them. First off, the new Xbox. I'm sorry, but it's going in B tier, lowest B tier, because it's like the most blandest bullshit I've ever seen. B for bland bullshit. As for the PS5, it's going in A tier, but the very bottom of it. These are the bottom of their respective columns. So that's it, folks. Ranking over. This is the final ranking. This is my opinion. So that's all I can really say. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.